Thank you, Mr. Speaker. So, Saturday we cobbled together a 45-day continuing resolution. Now, that's not my preferred way of doing business around here. Indeed, what I talk to my constituents at home about are the process that the House Republicans, with our majority, have attempted to put in place and are putting into place, a successful appropriations committee process. Now, this isn't just jargon and it's inside baseball for a lot of people, but when people understand what it is they're trying to accomplish, the Appropriations Committee is going to be the transparency, the light of day, the sunshine on the spending process that DC has, and we need much more of. So we didn't get there this year quite. We got 70% of our spending, I hate to use that term, but that's the jargon here, accomplished in 4 bills already. We still need to do 8 bills as our budget is divided up in about 12 pieces in the appropriations process. So we have a little ways to grind out here. So what happened? We weren't able to come to agreement, even amongst all Republicans, on getting all these bills done. We had a good flurry at the end and getting a few done here in the last couple of weeks. But we have much more to do. We want to get through the whole process because we want the transparency so the public can see what it is we're doing in this process. The Appropriations Committee in the light of day, line by line, etc., so that we can then send documents over to the Senate and have them contemplate, and they're not going to like exactly what we do, but we'll bring it back and hopefully achieve a consensus we can all live with in this era. And I have to remind you, what we've laid out as our goals in the House Republicans aren't necessarily shared by the Senate or the White House. It's a hostile environment to try and cut back to pre-COVID levels of spending, as well as secure our border from Senate Democrat majority and the Biden White House. These are our goals. We want to have a secure border. We had a document early last week that we thought was going to take a giant leap there, but we couldn't get all the votes we needed, even our own conference, to get it done. Pretty frustrating. So we have this 45-day ability to buy time and what we passed the other day. I'm not happy with continuing resolutions, especially long-term ones. This is fairly short-term. It'll enable us to do our work and get these appropriations done. That's what we're doing. Yes, it continues spending pretty much as it was, but we were up against the deadline. Now, what are the bad things? You know, government shutdown is what we're up against. Yeah, it's a terrible way of doing business. I've been around a couple of them, and colleagues have been here longer than me. One of my friends said has been through 5 of them. Nobody ever wins politically or policy-wise on a shutdown. What happens? Our troops stop getting paid, okay? Our loyal soldiers out there on the line stop getting paid, and they're already underwaged, so to speak. Contracts that we would have with defense come to a grinding halt. Now, and other federal projects on construction, road, infrastructure, what have you, come to a grinding halt. Now, what happens on that? When you demobilize construction crews or assembly lines like that, they don't just turn right back on and off like a light switch. People go home, they move their equipment to other things. And so it's much more expensive to turn back on something that was already in momentum. Try shutting off a nuclear power plant. Not the same what we're talking about here, but you don't just turn these things on and off. And that's what happens. Permitting, when folks have been waiting so long for EPA or Army Corps of Engineers or somebody to get their freaking job done on getting permits out, and then they have an excuse to shut down. Oh, this week-long shutdown, 2-week-long, it's going to set us back 3 months. We've heard that sort of thing around here. So even though it might feel good, yeah, let's shut the mother down, you know, because a lot of people don't like what government does, including me. In my real life as a farmer in Northern California, I see a lot of dumb stuff government does. But shutting things down in the middle of the stream here doesn't really work for anybody, unfortunately. Federal employees will still get paid, even if they're not at work, so it's a paid vacation. They'll get their back pay. Congress will still get paid by the month. Doesn't really shut anything off that way. So we don't gain a lot with the shutdown. So we held our nose. We're going to do this for 45 days to do a good process in the Appropriations Committee. I want to have faith in that. I want the American public to have faith in an open process and doing it correctly, because process is something that's been lacking a lot. in Congress and in government in recent years. We have to cling to process as something that's important.
Gentleman's time has expired.
So we can have things laid out constitutionally. I yield back.
Gentleman yields back. The chair now recognizes the gentleman